Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, Lynne Cox is in the house, along with...
Like, you don't know my name?
I know your name. You're supposed to say it, for crying out loud. Kim Rutherford.
Kim Rutherford.
And Robin Rasmussen's in the house.
Rose.
I did Robin
Rose.
Rasmussen. Rose. I forgot the Rose part. I didn't realize it was going to be such a big party. But there's a trail of people that are going to come on the show. But we're going to start with these three. And we're going to talk about this book, and that beloved dog. Oh my God, what a beautiful... Oh,
She's adorable.
I missed my dog. Where should we start?
Start at the beginning.
We're going to start at the beginning. Let's talk about Tales of Al. We're going to start with talk about Tales of Al? We'll talk
Let's do that.
How do I look in here? Can you see me?
No, you're cut off.
There I go. Am I in it? I think we're going to start by Tales of Al, which is, I think we're going to start there and go backwards.
That sounds great.
Yes.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the book and how the book, can we start, first talk, how did the book come about?
I saw a video. I saw a video of a Newfoundland leaping out of a helicopter into the water, and I just thought, wow, where do they do this? How do they do that? So I did some research and found out that they were doing rescues in Italy along with the Italian Coast Guard, and connected with people at the U.S. Embassy who put me in touch with the Italian School for Water Rescue Dogs.
Italian School for Water Rescue Dogs.
Right.
Never thought there'd ever be such a thing.
No, I didn't either.
Right? You think that that can't be true.
No, well, the whole thing didn't seem true, because when do you see dogs in helicopters leaping into lakes? I mean,
It's some kind of Disney movie, maybe.
it was, yeah. So,
Right?
yeah, exactly. So it was so strange to see these Labradors and Newfoundlands and all of that doing this. And so I decided I have to go find out more. So I went to Italy and met with the head of the school, and then Donatella Pasquale, who was the vice president of the school, and she allowed me to watch them do their training. And it was amazing, because so much of it was like being on a swim team.
Before that, how did that idea come about? How they figure out these dogs could rescue people?
Okay, so Ferruccio Palanga, who had the idea for this...
Ferruccio Palanga.
Ferruccio Palanga.
That's my new name. Okay, the girls are gonna like that. What's your name? Ferruccio.
Ferruccio Palanga. He has a daughter and a friend, and they were out in the water,
Right.
and the friend started having a trouble, and their Newfoundland, Mas, went out and pulled them both in. So he had this idea that maybe he could do something more with a Newfoundland and create a water rescue dog school where they could help people that were in trouble.
Is Italy a dog-loving country?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
I
actually,
mean, I know England is, but so Italy is too?
Italy is too.
Yeah.
When you go out to dinner, the dogs are under the table.
Right,
You
right.
know, and when you're going out to dinner with the Newfoundlands, the dogs are under the table and sprawled out behind.
That's a big dog,
They're huge.
right? And what other dogs? Is there other dogs are in the program?
Right. They have Labrador retrievers,
Right.
golden retrievers,
Right.
German shepherds, Italian Spinoni, which are usually gun dogs used for hunting in Italy, but they were using them in this water rescue training.
Right.
And Leonbergers. I'd never seen a Leonberger before.
What is a Leonberger? Never even heard of a Leonberger.
Leonberger sort of looks like a giant Saint Bernard, but it has
St. Bernards are already giant. It's even,
exactly. That's the point.
Is it even bigger?
It's even bigger.
Oh my God.
They're sort of rangier.
Like a horse.
Not quite that. Like like a miniature pony.
Wow.
You know, they have these big manes all around them, and they're tricolors. They're red and white and black or gray.
Right.
And they use them with the water rescue training, but in the United States they used a lot as assistance dogs.
So you got invited to check out the training, check out the coaching?
Right. And
you
so
said you participated too, correct?
right, they let me get in the water, and Moss was one of the Newfoundlands that was the star of this whole program. She had been doing this water rescue training for about 8 or 10 years.
Right.
So her owner, Ferruccio,
Yeah.
said, you know, go ahead, swim out 50 meters, Lynne, and then I'll let Moss go. So I swam out 50 meters, and I was told to lift my arms like I was in
Right,
trouble
right.
and splash the water. And Moss went out and circled around me at a distance. And then she came around again and let me hold on to a handhold on her harness. And then she pulled me to shore.
And, like, was it gentle, or did you feel like she was ripping your arm off?
No. She was really gentle,
Right.
and it was afterwards that I found out that a lot of people are afraid of dogs.
So I was going to ask you a question.
And so that's why the dog circled me and looked at me to see how I was responding,
Right.
and then moved in and realized that I wasn't afraid of the dog, that I just needed help. So I held on, and she pulled me in like there was nothing, like she was towing nothing behind her.
Are they
It
doing
was
this in lakes and the ocean, or just lakes?
both.
Both.
So all the Italian lakes and also along the coast of Italy.
Right.
The cool thing though is that people say, you already have a you
Right,
already have
lifeguard.
lifeguards. Why do you need dogs? And the Newfoundlands can pull in 6 people at a time. The golden retrievers, Labradors, German shepherds can pull in 2 or 3 people at a time.
6 people at a time.
6 people at a time.
Holy smoke!
But they're
That's
also
amazing.
their owners are also trained.
Right.
So the owners are lifeguards as well, and they'll go out with a dog. So if I was afraid of a dog, the owner could help me get in, and the dog would just swim at a distance in.
So I've got my Newfoundland. Okay, I'm taking. Where do I go in Italy? And do they allow someone like me who owns a dog to get trained for rescue? Or
Right.
They
They
can?
do. You
That
get
just
in
cost
touch with
me.
them.
It cost me, or was it a government program?
No, it would cost you to go
Okay.
like to any school to learn something new. So you
Okay.
would reach out to the Scuola Italiana Carni Salvataggio, and then you'll get in touch with them, and then they basically tell you what's the school's involved and how long the program is. And the people that I met start training in the spring with their dogs and in the lakes, and they go all the way through fall. And then they also do some water rescue training with people in in Switzerland and in Germany.
Right. It's cold in the wintertime though.
Yeah, the lake
Right.
freezes over.
Are they
So
jumping in helicopters? I see helicopters too.
they do the water rescue training out of
Out of
helicopters,
helicopters.
but primarily they work with the Italian Coast Guard and leap off the Coast Guard boats,
Right.
or they're patrolling the shore.
Right.
There was an article in People magazine last year about 3 Newfoundlands and their owners who saw 14 kids on rubber inflatable rafts being sucked out by a current. The 3 dogs and owners saw what was happening, went out and rescued them.
So you have a history as a lifeguard from your younger days down in Southern California, right? You have lifeguards obviously up and down here in Santa Cruz and up north. I mean, are we going to see dogs leaping into the Monterey Bay? Do you think anytime
It would be
soon?
really great.
Is there a program here in this country? Other programs in other countries other than Italy?
Yes, there are.
There are.
The Newfoundland Club of America has a program where they're doing the water rescue training, but it's really more for exercise and fitness and using the dog's natural skills. So they're not patrolling the beaches all over the United States. But they're also doing a similar program in Canada. The Newfoundland Club of Canada
Right.
does water trials.
Right.
And they have different skills they have to achieve.
Right.
Some of them are really quick and some of them aren't.
This is the book right here, Tales of Al. You can get it probably on Amazon. You can probably get it anywhere you want to, right?
And at Bookshop Santa
Bookshop
Cruz.
Santa Cruz. You can get it here locally,
Yes.
Bookshop Santa Cruz, and you'll be there tonight at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock?
At 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
Okay, Okay, it says here the making of a super athlete, right?
Right.
Now, according to me, I think you guys, long distance swimmers, are all amazing super athletes. That's why I loved you guys from the get go, haven't I?
Yes.
Right. Always
Yep.
supported you guys, but super athletes. What makes these dogs super athletes?
Because you don't just teach them to sit and stay.
Right.
You know, they figure out how to swim and rescue a person, but they also are doing lots of training. So some of the Newfoundlands were training a mile at a time with their owners, and they were doing sprinting so they could learn how to get through currents, and they were doing all sorts of other skills that they would need to do for their actual rescuing.
So were they going with different coaches? They use different.
That's a great question.
Right.
Yeah.
Th-
Actually, so if you have a dog and I have a dog,
Right.
and you're working with your dog, and
Right.
your dog gets the skill,
Yeah.
my dog doesn't get it, we just
Right.
swap dogs. But also, you know, if there's a dog that I have and Kim has one,
Yeah.
and I want to have your dog learn how to rescue me, you'll do that with me, because you don't want the dog just being able to go to one person. You want the dog to be able to go to everybody.
Right.
So the more experiences the dogs can have with different people, the better it is.
When you went there to check this out, did you have writing a book in mind, or after you got there and had been seeing the program, you're like, oh my God, I got to tell the whole world about this?
Actually, I went there initially with the idea of just writing a short story. I thought this would be
Right.
just fun to do. And then I started to work on the book, and then I set it aside because it wasn't working. And then over the time when we were experiencing COVID, and everyone was sort of one place, I just sat down and started writing. And it was so much fun because it was such a happy story, and there were things that I saw, as an athlete, when you have different coaches, the people that were involved in this program, there were instructors that were amazing coaches, where they could see the potential of the dog and of the owner and figured out how to get the most out of both of them.
Right. On your next swim, whatever that may be, right, in the boat that goes beside you, you call the boat that goes beside you?
Escort boat.
Escort boat. Would you like to have a Newfoundland in the escort boat with you?
Absolutely.
That would be wonderful.
That would be really good.
There's going to be one dude with the outboard, and there's going to be 5 dogs.
She cheated. She got towed by a dog.
Eliminate the whole lifeguard program. The Coast Guard's out of business, right? Quit flying those damn helicopters
It's
around.
gone to the dogs.
So down to the dogs. Now, do you have any questions here?
Well, I did, but now you put me on the spot. Gosh. No, we did try to find black raspberry ice cream because it's my favorite too.
Oh, is it
And
really?
and so when I cracked open the book last night, the neighbors could hear me. I'm, oh my God, black. Yeah. So I'm partway through it. It's a beautiful read.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I have a beautiful little puppy that I got from the Rose family, and they gave her, and she's finally getting used to the water.
Dog,
she's a cattle dog, so she is. She's a handful, but I love dogs, and so he's seen her.
So the thing is, the book is about Al, but it's also about different dogs and the ones that we love and that we grow up with that are part of the family, and also about water safety for dogs and kids and people, because often people think that you can have a home with a pool and you just leave the doggy door open and the dog will be fine, but just like a little toddler, the dog can fall in the pool and it can be really bad. So there's other messages incorporated into the story besides just the story about Al, which was a fun story to write. Because there's always somebody on a swim team that you just go, that person doesn't get it, or any team, just not quite there. And then there's a coach that can figure it out, and you've had a few of those, right?
Yeah, I have. Well, I coach
right now?
kids for Quicksilver. And so I have a lesson program. I have masters, and we have a couple of girls that went to Olympic trials last year, and we have a couple more coming up. And we have a whole group of coaches, and we all work together because every kid is different, and their heart is in it, but maybe they're not getting it from me. And you don't take it personal. You find the right coach for the person that needs it, whether it's a kid or an adult or, in lessons. It's hard to give them up. You feel like they're yours. They're not, and you got to let them move into the next group or get instruction from another instructor, and then you see them and you're like, oh, how did that happen? Well, I'm just glad it happened. They just got it. So
once a dog brings the person to shore, his job's done, right?
Then they continue patrolling,
right?
They're all energized and they just want to do it more. So that's what happened with Mass, where she brought me to shore during this test, and then I asked Ferruccio, can I swim further out and do this again? And he's like, of course. So I swam about 100 meters offshore, and then he released Mass, and she came right out for me this time, knowing who I was, swam right around me, presented the handhold on the harness. She's wearing a flotation vest, so that's already lifting her up in the water.
The dog,
so by holding on to this, it lifts me up slightly. So if anyone's been struggling, now their head's really clear of the water, and they're feeling much more relaxed.
So Newfoundland weighs what, 150 pounds?
Yeah.
I just can't imagine a Newfoundland doing a doggy paddle, right? Because I just think it just go like that. So are they swimming? Have there been studies? Are they swimming in different ways?
They are. They actually have enormous paws that are all webbed, and they were made for swimming. If you look at their chests, they're like keels on boats, and they were brought from Europe and also on board fishing boats from Spain, and taken to help fish for cod. So they would pull in the fishing lines using their mouths, and they had to swim ashore with the fishing lines. The reason the dogs drool so much that when you see these Newfoundlands is because their lips are intentionally loose so they could breathe when they were pulling these lines to shore.
Really?
Yeah. So, but nowadays they're not needed for that, so they have dry mouths, which do not do the slobbering. But if you were in Italy and you had a Kleenex and you saw a dog that was, you would just wipe it off.
Right.
It was just, you're just part of this family and this is what you do.
Right.
Which was really fun because you realize this really is a really cool, close team. And the people that have been doing this now, some of them have been doing it for 25 years, where they volunteer their time, they learn with their dogs, they develop the skills, and then they go patrol the beaches. And the Coast Guard likes them a lot because they put a softer face on the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody's irritated for getting a ticket, then they look at the dog and go, "Oh."
What was it like? What was it like when you were in the water watching this dog come towards you?
Well, at first I thought, it might be really hard for the dog to pull me to shore because, its head was just at this level.
So what? Okay. Okay.
And so I just thought, if I'm going to hold on to it, this might bring her down. But I held on, and it was just like flying across the water. And it was really fun.
Yeah.
And there was no sense of I'm having a hard time or I'm struggling with
Right,
you.
right.
Just like, this is fun. Hold on, I'll take you to shore.
So it's taught to go around in circles.
It's taught to go around.
It's taught not to go. Coach not to go directly to the person that needs to be rescued.
Right, because also a lot of people have had the experience where the dog a family pet will just swim right and start scratching it around, and they know that that's not what they're supposed to do.
A lot of people, dogs freak them out.
Exactly. So, and I think I was reading this in the book. So their paws are actually kind of webbed in swimming breaststroke,
Right.
Versus forward this way, like
Dog paddle.
German shepherds or
Yes.
whatever, right?
Yes,
There's more.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The different body types. Well, the Newfoundlands are like really powerful swimmers, and they would coordinate their hind legs. And so I watched Al underwater just to see what she was doing, and it was just like effortless. But then you'd watch the golden retrievers, and they would just like swim like little old ladies, just very serene and stylized. Unless they were sprinting with another dog, then they'd pick up the pace. The Labradors were like this, and the German Shepherds are really stiff-bodied. And so, each dog varied because each dog was different. The body type was slightly different, just like each person. So you could see the difference in their strokes. But they, being in Italy and being with Italians, they would have to do these little races with their dogs. So they'd have these sprints, and that was fun to watch. It was great. It was like,
I thought it was interesting about they have a sense of smell underwater that they could, for their rescuing, that they could smell.
they can smell gases rising to the surface.
They
That
can?
was it.
I was
Yeah.
thinking, yes.
Yeah, so
that's
there are beetles and other dogs that are used in body recovery. Did somebody get dropped into a lake? And so the dogs can go on board search and rescue
amazing.
boats, and they can smell and be able to detect if there's something going on.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, dogs are incredible.
Huh?
They're-
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was cute is about your family dog. The dog
Yeah.
is your dad said something like the dog is always right, like to sense maybe it's like a boyfriend coming over or something.
yeah.
Like he's not good for my daughter.
Actually,
That kind of thing.
that actually happened. There was,
did it?
when my sister was dating this new person, and he came to the house, and our dog did not like him at all. She did not date this guy again. And dogs.
But Scott, come on.
Whatever, Scott.
You're out.
I'm out.
Oh,
You know what I love about Lynne too is her. Lynn's,
Get out of here.
Oops, Lynn's curiosity is what makes you stand out beside your swimming from anybody else. Is you have that curiosity, like you were curious about this and you went there.
Right.
And that a lot of people don't have that. I feel like that's what keeps you apart from, besides your wonderful open swimming, than a lot of people. You
Oh,
act on it. You know
Well,
what I mean?
you've heard that thing, well, when pigs fly, and I'm like, well, when dogs fly,
Well,
and they
yeah.
actually do.
I think
So
that's
I just
wonderful.
thank you.
How,
It's,
especially
how,
the
how hard
story.
does the helicopter
it's about
lower itself down to?
8 feet off the water.
Okay, so
three meters.
Not like 100 feet.
No,
Crazy.
because you hit with a large impact.
Of course, yeah.
But of course, it goes through your head as a swimmer. You go, all right, they're going to come from this height. They're going to hit the water.
Yeah.
Then they're going to go under. How do they learn how to hold their breath?
Right.
How do they know? Where did that come from?
Right.
So there was an instance where I was watching them training with the dogs, and there was a golden retriever that just lifted her head up and then put her face in the water and blew bubbles. I'm like, where does that come from? I've never seen a dog blow bubbles. But when she did that, her hips came up, she became more hydrodynamic, and she swam a lot faster. Just how do these dogs know?
50-pound dog swimming fast.
Exactly.
That's no wonder you want to go. You got to go check that out.
I think it's pretty cool. I would like
As
to.
much as she's curious, I think somebody
Yes.
was going to go check that out.
Yeah, and actually there are people.
And you were the right person to do it
Yes.
because you're more attuned to what's going on in the lake than maybe somebody else would be. So you're the right person to go do that.
It was just.
You're the right person to write that book.
Well, thank you. I was really, really lucky to be welcomed by this group.
If you're not a swimmer, you don't get that side of it.
No,
Right? You know what I mean?
no, you don't.
This is Scott Tapper right here, my friend Scott.
Hey.
And I want to say one thing. The book you wrote about swimming to Antarctica, right? You said before the show started the program
Oh, yeah.
that book was not always,
Right.
not particularly, it was for everybody.
Right. If you don't have to be a swimmer to
Right.
really enjoy and appreciate,
That
well,
book.
probably all of these books, right? But that was a book that, my wife introduced to me, and she's not a swimmer, so and just like you have to read this book, and so I think it's a book that not only, not only did people enjoy it, but I think it actually had a huge impact on the global sport of open water swimming. Because I think you've probably heard this a lot, but that book got a lot of people interested in swimming in the ocean, and it changed a lot of lives. It was the catalyst that started a lot of big journeys for a lot of people. Probably myself included. Reading that book, we had done Alcatraz and things like that, but then you read that book and you go, wow, I didn't know people swim from Catalina, and next thing you know, and you're doing all these things, and so, yeah, I think it was a big influence on a lot of people.
Yeah. Did you read this book?
I have started to read it.
Yeah.
I haven't finished it yet, but it's right away. You just get hooked. It's
Okay.
it's an easy read. It's fun.
great.
It's
Yeah.
really pleasurable. I just love your writing.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
But I was going to ask a question about the dogs too. If they come out and they circle you. If a person is incapacitated, are they trained to respond differently? Like if you can't grab on?
Right, then
and
the
be
owner's
towed?
there beside the dog.
Okay.
It follows. So they're
Right.
trained as lifeguards as well. So they're able to pull in the person.
Right,
So
okay.
also, if the person's afraid of a dog, they don't just leave them there. They
Right.
pull the person in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they are sort of, there are beaches in Italy where there are already lifeguards, but they are the backups. And they often see stuff that's happening, so they intercede before stuff happens.
Do the dogs need to be trained from an early age, or
No,
can
no.
you take an older dog? And
They
teach
will
them
take
new
an older
tricks?
dog. Yeah, and actually, the thing that I heard was that, that you can have a dog that's 6 months old or 2 years old, and sometimes the 6-month-old will do better than the 2-year-old, and it just is dog dependent,
Right.
just like people dependent.
Monterey Bay may need its own dog.
I would like that.
Yeah.
We're all on the they're
I
founding
thought we
members
could
of
we
the.
could train Jax, my golden retriever, to be our official rescue
Well,
dog.
what about Rosie?
I don't think, yeah, we'll put
We'll have a
Rose
whole
out there,
squad,
yeah. Yeah.
Well, in England they had one. They had one called Bilbao, and he patrolled the beaches of Cornwall. Not England, but Cornwall. And
In
in England.
idea.
Yeah, and he was famous everywhere for that.
What was his name?
Bilbao.
Bill Bow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very cool. We should have one of the Monterey Bay. We need one,
I
right?
know, we need a mascot.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah,
a
mascot
dog.
dog.
We need one.
My wife used to have a golden that would swim to the deep end of a swimming pool, like right to the bottom, and pick up rocks and golf balls or whatever you throw in the bottom.
Wow.
He would swim all the way down to the bottom, holding his breath, grab the object, and come back out and retrieve it from about
Perhaps
7 or 8
dogs
feet
are
deep.
better. Perhaps dogs are better swimmers than humans are.
Probably, yeah.
Probably, right?
Well, it's interesting because I've never heard that before, but I've heard the Portuguese water dogs do the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
That they've been
I've
bred.
heard.
You've heard the
Yeah.
same thing.
Some relatives
Yeah.
have those. Right?
Oh, really?
They love those.
But my dog is one of those that tries to rescue you and just tears you up.
Yeah.
It means well, but it just claws you to pieces.
So, you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, right?
Right.
Easy to get a hold of.
Oh,
The
yeah.
book's available as a website.
There's a website, www.lynne, L-Y-N-N-E,
Yeah.
cox.com,
Piece of cake.
and it shows this extensive book tour that I'm going to be on.
You are an extensive book tour. You're
Exactly.
shopping the book.
Well, I'm,
I mean, we
tomorrow.
tried to get you a gig in Felton, but you left. 3 gigs in one day. Was it Felton? Got the meth lab up there.
No, don't say that.
I'm only kidding.
Yeah. So I'm going to do, from here, I do Bookshop Santa Cruz,
Yes,
and then tomorrow, Ruby's Books in Folsom, and then Sendance Books in Reno the following day, and then fly to the East Coast, and then there's an East Coast tour that involves Stockbridge and Exeter, New Hampshire, and Miami, Florida, and Virginia, and Maryland, and then the Midwest, Chicago, and St. Paul, Minnesota, and
goodness.
it's all over.
Now, are
the
you
US.
able to swim a little bit while you're in these?
A little bit,
Like,
yeah.
take little dips.
Take little dips.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome to swim here.
Thank you.
Stairs are right there.
Very cool. What a beautiful place in the world.
Yes.
It's paradise.
Yeah, it really is.
That's what the eagle said. You can check out, but you can't leave. Yeah, so we're stuck here. Thank you so much for doing the show today. Really appreciate it. Good luck with the book. Once
Thank
again,
you.
it's Tales of Al.
Yeah,
It's available on any way you can buy a book nowadays, right?
Right.
On your computer. Tales of great book.
Wonderful book.
And LynneCox.com, Lynne.
That's it.
COX.com, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere.
You can get it on Audible also. If
You
people
can get
want
it
to
Audible,
listen in
okay.
the car.
You can get it Audible.
You know.
Great,
Okay.
yeah. That's the way you listen
Robin
to it,
did,
right?
yeah.
She said I cheated. But
She's cheating because I wanted to feel the paper of the book. I bought the book.
But it's a wonderful book. Oh my
It's good,
gosh.
yeah.
You're a wonderful writer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being the part. Thank you for dragging her around.
Thank you, Stephen.
All right, and we'll see you soon. Good luck.
Thank you very
so
much, Neil. It was fun.
It was fun.
Very fun.
Thank you.